Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I'm bringing you guys Week 16 tight end rankings for fantasy football in 2020. We are a couple of hours off of kickoff on Saturday, and if you guys are watching this on Saturday, when it drops, stop by in like an hour or two at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Around that time, I will be live talking about all of Saturday's games, answering your guys' questions. So if you want your question answered, hop on there on the live stream at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, around there. Probably not exactly at 11, probably more like 11:15, but make sure you guys check that out. Before we get into it, I'd like to ask if that at any point inside this video you end up having a great time, you end up enjoying, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. Not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win that 2020 Fantasy Football Championship. So without further ado, let's get into it. Week 16 tight end rankings. We begin with tight ends 1 through 10. Coming in at number 1, we have Travis Kelce versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this pick to me is just a straight up no-brainer at the number 1 position. A excellent tight end going up against one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and that tight end just so happens to be on the most high-powered offense in the NFL. It's a no-brainer. Don't think twice. Don't try to do some mental gymnastics into thinking Travis Kelce, for some reason you would sit him. You already know you're starting him. Tight end 1 on the week. And number 2, we got Darren Waller versus my Miami Dolphins. Now, even as a Dolphins fan, I can see that we kind of have a glaring fucking hole when trying to cover a tight end. Travis Kelce played pretty well against us. We haven't really played up against one of those upper echelon tight ends. Why is that? Because there's only a couple in this league who I consider very scary to go up against and are going to be guys that will eat your defense alive. Darren Waller is one of them. Not one, but 2 games out of his last 3, he has put up over 150 fucking yards. That is such a crazy number. That is unreal. Up against the Dolphins, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to have that humongous game, but he's locked and loaded as a very safe tight end, regardless of if we end up seeing Derek Carr suit up or whether or not we see Marcus Mariota suit up. It does not matter in my opinion. I still believe in Darren Waller. I hope he does bad as a Dolphins fan, but he's probably going to end up smacking me in the goddamn face, forehand, backhand. I like Darren Waller here at number 2. At number 3, we have Robert Tonyan versus the Tennessee Titans. Now, while this offense really runs through one guy and one guy only, that's Davante Adams, and then obviously Aaron Jones gets the ball. But then, outside of those guys, there's Robert Tonyan. The wide receiver 2 on the team, Lazard, MVS, it's kind of up in the air which one of those guys is the wide receiver 2. But the true wide receiver 2 is Robert Tonyan, the tight end, up against the Tennessee Titans. This is going to be a close back-and-forth affair where both teams are smacking back and forth. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of defense in this one, like a Floyd Mayweather fight. I think both of these guys are going to go after it in this game, both of these teams. Robert Tonyan, I expect to have yet another magnifique matchup here up against the Tennessee Titans. At number 4, we have Mark Andrews versus the New York Football Giants. Now, Mark Andrews was a guy coming into this year that you drafted and you were ultra confident in. What this season has shown us is not anything wrong with Mark Andrews, more wrong on the side of Lamar Jackson. But Lamar Jackson has looked very accurate throwing recently and has looked like a much better quarterback. Besides the beginning start of the year where he wasn't looking all that great, Mark Andrews is clearly the wide receiver 1 on this fucking team. Hollywood Brown has been fucking blacklisted by him half the time, but maybe that's because Lamar just can't throw it that far. Maybe it's because Lamar's not the greatest quarterback, but at the end of the day, Mark Andrews is still going to be a touchdown machine. He is still going to be one of those guys that gets the ball heavily in this offense. Even if they're running it a lot all over the New York Football Giants, I expect Mark Andrews to have a great game. At number 5, we have TJ Hawkinson versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this is definitely not a very juicy matchup for TJ Hawkinson, as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is no slouch. They're not going to get bent over by Matt Stafford, who's kind of banged up, and the Lions. But TJ Hawkinson has been unreally safe thus far this season. He has just been so consistent week in and week out, really hasn't had a bad game, and if he is to have a bad game, he doesn't string a bunch of them together like some of these other tight ends. He's just been rock solid like a cock on Viagra this season, so I do expect TJ Hawkinson to be able to play well in a harder matchup up against the Bucs. And number 6, we have Logan Thomas versus the Carolina Panthers. Logan Thomas has been unreal recently. Alex Smith and him have a love affair like no other. Alex Smith doesn't give a fuck that he literally has one of the best wide receivers in the NFL on his team in Terry McLaurin. Now, right now, we don't know if Terry McLaurin's going to end up playing or not. My assumption, when a guy's doubtful, a majority of the time they don't end up playing, so I'm just going to assume he's out in this scenario. The Carolina Panthers defense isn't amazing, and while I don't expect this to be a very high-scoring back-and-forth affair where there's going to be 7 zillion points on the board, I do expect Logan Thomas to be open in this game and getting the ball thrown his way, and with the touchdown upside Logan Thomas presents, I like him here as a top 6 tight end. At number 7, we have Kittle Me Timbers, George Kittle at the Arizona Cardinals. Now, if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't understand for any reason why George Kittle should play in this game. Being honest with you, why return early, risk injury, when the team has no shot at the playoffs? Is it to play spoiler to the Cardinals? I don't know. But what I do know is when George Kittle plays, you fucking play him. It is no-brainer. This guy is on a snap count. This man is going to snap Kyle Shanahan in half if he doesn't get the ball a bunch of times in this game. I expect George Kittle to explode in this matchup. I expect George Kittle to skull fuck the Arizona Cardinals. I got him at 7 due to the risk that there's a quote-unquote snap count like they're saying, but I would start him in any scenario. Number 8, we have Noah Fant at the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this is the point in the rankings where it gets a little bit dicey over here because Noah Fant presents the upside of scoring a bunch of touchdowns and playing very well, but Noah Fant also has the quarterback named Horsecock Drew Lock, and this guy is either going to be amazing, lights out, KOing the fuck out of the defense, or he is going to play like this man doesn't even have eyes. Being honest with you, that's what Drew Lock is. You either or see him in a game and he's throwing the ball and you're like, that's a fucking laser, Buzz Lightyear style. This is amazing. Or you see him throw the ball and he looks like Stevie Wonder in the pocket and he can't see anyone. John Cena. Noah Fant is going to be good in this game, I hope. Because I like Noah Fant and the guy has a very good skill set. But understand, it gets riskier past George Kittle. At number 9, we have Dallas Goedert at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Cowboys are a bad defense. Jalen Hurts doesn't love Dallas Goedert like Carson Wentz does. Carson Wentz and Goedert were best fucking buddies. He said, goodbye, Zach Ertz, get out of here, skedaddle. It's Dallas Goedert season, and that's how it's been. But with Hurts, it's a little more suspect, but at the end of the day, going up against the Dallas Cowboys should be pretty easy for the other man named Dallas. In this game, at number 10, we have Rob Gronkowski at the Detroit Lions. Rob Gronkowski is one of those tight ends that you just start every single week based on name value. Early on in the season, the name value proved to have fucked you in the ass without the use of any lube, right? You drafted him, you're playing him weeks 1 through 3, and this guy is just stinking it up, and I was amongst the people who weren't on drafting him, so I was telling people to cut him, right? And then it turns out the guy's on fire. He's playing amazing, right? But we really couldn't have seen that coming because Rob Gronkowski, at that time in the season, was being used as a blocking tight end, but more so after week 3 into week 4 and on infinity and beyond. Rob Gronkowski has been on fire, scoring touchdowns. All this opportunity up against Detroit. I like him at tight end number 10. But again, when it's an offense with so many weapons like this, it is very difficult to figure out which one of these guys to start on a weekly basis. But Gronk feels very safe this week at Detroit. Now into tight ends 11 through 20. If you guys have ended up enjoying thus far, please make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button down below. Coming in at number 11, we have Evan Ingram at the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Evan Ingram, the Pro Bowler, might be one of the most fraudulent Pro Bowls I've ever seen in my life. Now, again, don't put anything into the fact that they made the Pro Bowl. The All-Pro is what actually matters. But the Pro Bowl does kind of matter because these guys get incentives in their contract. If they make the Pro Bowl, they make more money. And Evan Ingram might need that fucking money to buy a new pair of hands because this guy is atrocious. And then other games, he looks like one of the best tight ends in the NFL. There's really no way to gauge Evan Ingram on a weekly basis. That's why he's always like tight end 8 through 12 because he provides the upside to be a guy that is like a number 1 tight end. The guy's an amazing athlete. The guy just has all of these stats that would look so good. But then on Sunday, this guy is atrocious. Or on Sunday, this guy's amazing. You never really know. Up against Baltimore, I'm a bit worried for Eazy Evan Ingram, but I like him here at 11. At number 12, we have Austin Hooper at the New York Football Jets. Now, the Jets looked last week like a whole different fucking team. It looked like they had no idea how to play football the whole season. Then last week, they were fired the fuck up. Sam Darnold was like, you know what? I don't want to lose my job. I'm going to win one game so that the Jaguars can pass us. I'm going to win one game, just one, so that we can draft this good Penei Sewell, this offensive tackle that's going to save my life. I think that's what he was thinking. I don't know. I don't think the O-tackle is going to save you from mono, though, Mr. Sam. But with that said, Austin Hooper looks like he has a good spot here up against the New York Football Jets. The issue, though, is there's a lot of tight ends in Green Bay. Not in Green Bay. In Cleveland. Not that Phillip Rivers is there to fill them, if you know what I'm saying. That's why the guy has 11 kids. But with that said, Austin Hooper, fucking David Njoku's playing pretty well. But against the Jets, you just got to believe in the upside here at tight end 12. At number 13, we have Jonnu Smith at the Green Bay Packers. Now, Jonnu Smith has been down terrible. Aside from last week, he was really hot to go into the season, played really well, got hurt, came back, played bad, got hurt again, and then played bad. But last week, this guy rose to the fucking occasion, and up against Green Bay, I expect a decent game out of him. The upside is there, but there's definitely the risk that he just plays like shit again. At number 14, we have Cole Kmet at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars' defense is bad. The Chicago offense is pretty decent. Kmet has been involved, but does struggle in some games. So that's why he finds a spot here at 14. Very big upside up against Jacksonville. But again, the downside is Mitchell Trubisky as his quarterback. At number 15, we have Dalton Schultz versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, without Dakota Prescott, it seems like Andy Dalton and Dalton Schultz actually have a pretty solid connection. But with how shit this Dallas offense looks at times, I don't really trust Dalton Schultz all that much at 15. At number 16, we have my darling, my main man, Hayden Hurst at the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I know, Nick, why is Hayden Hurst not inside your top 12? You love him. And I do love him. But a man can feel the defeat that Hayden Hurst has the upside to play great. I know he could play bad. Against Kansas City, I'm not too sure what this offense is going to do. I expect them to look good, but it seems like without Julio, Hayden Hurst is definitely lingering, like isn't playing as well. So I don't really trust him here up against the Kansas City Chiefs. At number 17, we have Mike Licky Amagasicki at the Las Vegas Raiders on Saturday night. Mike Gesicki is hurt. He's hurt coming into this game. So I'm worried about my guy Gesicki. I think he plays, and I think he plays fine. But I think there's a lot more upside elsewhere than looking at Gesicki due to the injury, if you can understand me. I just don't want to be 100% bought in and he re-aggravates his injury. And I don't want to be 100% bought in and he's on a snap count. Right? Because if we get up early on the fucking Raiders, it's going to be it's going to be the other guys. Shaheen. All those motherfuckers will be in the game, not Gesicki. So just to prevent you from getting butt-fucked from Mike Gesicki, I would just advise ranking him lower. At number 18, we have Tyler Higbee at the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Higbee, man, oh man, this guy was a complete miss this season. We're now at the point in the rankings where it's a complete and utter fucking Kobe shot from 90 yards away to try to land on a tight end here. Higbee has the touchdown potential, but he also just does not have the I'm always on the field potential because Everett's out there stealing this. The run game's good. The receiving game is good. So it's kind of been a hard knock life for fucking Tyler Higbee this season. So I don't really believe in him that much this week at 18. At number 19, we have Jordan Atkins versus Cincinnati, a pretty solid offense versus a not so hot defense. Atkins is touchdown dependent though. That's why he finds himself in 19. At number 20, we have my main man, the Arnoldinator, Dan Arnold, versus the San Francisco 49ers. Against San Francisco, this should be a pretty decently high-scoring game, in my opinion, at least on the Arizona side. But Dan Arnold, again, doesn't get a lot of targets, doesn't get a lot of opportunities. So with the 3-4 targets he gets, he has to score a touchdown, get a bunch of yards. So that's why I'm not as trustworthy with Dan Arnold this year. Closing him in at tight end number 20. So thank you guys all so much for watching this video. If you did end up enjoying it at any point, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. I love each and every single one of you motherfuckers. Have a great rest of your guys' Saturday. Fins up. We're going to go ahead and kill the Raiders. Shout out to the guy in the comments who loves the Raiders. Your name is escaping me, but I love you. Shout out to that man. Go Dolphins. Buy a zillion. I love you all. Goodbye.